Another day, another dollar as I holler to the world. I love the way I'm living, love the Gucci, love the girls, love the parties and the clubs, love the models and hot tubs, love the German engineering set on deep dish dubs. Another tour around the world, entertaining the fans. I love walking through the airport, taking pictures, shaking hands. Every day for me's an oyster, crack it open, find a pearl. I love the way I'm living, is what I holler to the world.
Welcome back to Marking Out with MVP and Dwayne Swayze.
We were just having some fun.
Yes.
Before this episode, we were watching some promos of one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and one of, I think, I wouldn't even say underrated, but I just don't think people talk today enough about the Macho Man Randy Savage's promos. You know, the cream always rises to the top. Tito Santana, compared to me, you're garbage. You're just a grain of sand in the Sahara Desert. None of you the entire desert. You know, and I was telling this pretty cool story about how coming up on the South Florida indie scene, when a young Antonio Banks is what I was known as back then, a friend of mine was friends with somebody who knew Macho Man. They lived in like the Sarasota, Fort Myers area. And they said, hey, give me a VHS tape of one of your matches and an 8x10, and I'll give it to him. Maybe something can happen. You know, I'm like, at the time, he wasn't working anywhere. He wasn't, you know, I'm like was he going to give you a job somewhere? That's not really how it works. But yeah, okay, you never know. So I gave it to him. And then I used to drive from Miami to Tampa to go train at Steve Kern's school. And back then it was called Steve Kern School of Hard Knocks. It was before his affiliation with Florida Championship Wrestling, before he got back with WWE and everything. And because I used to wrestle for IPW, which was an independent wrestling company in Tampa, Florida. So some of the guys there I got to be cool with were like, hey man, you should come train with us at Steve Kern School. And you had a lot of WW back then, F guys that lived in the Tampa area and would go to current school on their days off to get a workout in, to train, sharpen up. So I thought, oh, that's a great opportunity to potentially learn from, you know, some guys that are doing things, you know. So I used to drive up there, and Steve Kern, to this day, we're still good friends. And when he found out that I was driving from Miami to Tampa and sleeping on somebody's couch to train at his school, he was like, if you got that kind of drive, you don't have to pay a dime to train at my school.
How long is that drive?
From Miami from where I lived to Steve Kern's school was a little over 4 hours.
Damn, okay.
And I'd spend the night, crash on somebody's couch, and I'd, you know, try to spend like 2 days to get a couple days, and then I'd drive back. And around that time, Macho Man had linked up with Steve Kern because he was supposed to do this thing, machoman.com. And it was going to be internet wrestling. And, you know, remember, the internet is relatively new, and, you know, being able to, like, streaming wasn't a thing yet, but to go and have a subscription to machoman.com, and they had some plans for that. They were supposed to have, like, strippers, and it was going to be like, you know, because remember, you know, around this time also ECW was huge as well. So it was a little bit more adult, you know.
What year are we talking here?
2001, 2002, maybe, somewhere around there. Machoman.com, feel the madness. Oh, yeah. That was his. And so I got invited to come to try out to be a part of machoman.com. And I'll never forget, we had to do promos. And Macho Man invested some money because Steve Kern's school was a regular wrestling school in a bay of mechanic shops, you know. But they put some money in it and kind of turned it into like a studio wrestling type thing. And we all had to cut promos for Macho Man. And he was there in attendance. And, you know, some dudes were nervous. You know, some dudes were shitting bricks, as they say.
Yeah, for sure.
I was salivating at the opportunity. Because you guys don't understand, Macho Man is one of my all-time favorite promos because he was so over the top, but original. Like, there was nobody like him before or since. You know, like he'd be, Gene Okerlund's here and he's talking and he'd be, turn his back to the camera and not looking and then he'd turn back around. Yeah,
Gene followed with that.
yeah, yeah. Say it, say it twice. Macho Man was on his own thing. And if you're not following me, I implore you, go to YouTube and go down the Macho Man promo rabbit hole. Like, I just don't think that he's brought up enough in the conversation.
We were
all-time great promo.
We were at least a half hour of just.
Yeah, we're sitting here just watching Macho Man promos, and I don't remember everything I said in the promo. I just remember that I went in on Macho Man. I went straight for him.
You remember a little bit?
I remember saying something like, because in a promo, if you say somebody's trash, they're garbage, they're nobody, and you beat them, then who did you beat? But if you put somebody over, and they beat you, well, hey, man, so you got to build them up before you tear them down. That's promo 101. Dwayne Swayze, man, you're a big man. You're 6'6". I know you're fit. You're one of the greatest box jumpers in the world. I know your clean and snatch is impressive.
There we
your
go.
Cardio's impressive. But this ain't fitness, man. This is pro wrestling, and then you start tearing you down. So with Macho Man, I was like, Macho Man, you were the epitome of pro wrestling. You were the absolute greatest. You were a champion's champion. Nobody had your style, your charisma. Nobody. You were the greatest. Emphasis on were. Oh, what are you now? Mm-hmm. What are you doing now, Macho Man? What do you have now? A tube of Bengay? A prescription for Viagra? And I could see him standing there with Steve Keirn smiling, like shaking his head, like he was in, and I'm like, I'm gonna roll these dice, man. I'm gonna see what happens. He's either gonna go fuck this kid, get him out of here, or yeah, I like this kid. And that's exactly what he did. When I finished my promo, I made such an impression on him that he pulled me to the side, and he remembered me because he actually did get the 8x10 and the VHS tape.
He watched it?
He watched it. He remembered me, and he was very complimentary of me. And I was like, yo, you're one of my all-time favorites, man. So it's like, wow, okay. And Macho Man was notoriously tight with his bread. Nobody was getting paid for that machoman.com shit at that point anyway. He pulled me to the side and wrote me a check for a few $100s.
Nice.
And because I rode up with the Vandals, who else was it? We was a truckload of us that rode up. The Vandals were a tag team from South Florida, my boys. I think Johnny Vandal was with us too. I can't remember, but I cashed the check and I shared it with everybody because we're all broken hungry. Sometimes I have a decent heart. But I remember the coolest thing about that was that after that, Macho Man told me to take he had 3 numbers. He told me to take all 3 of his numbers. And I had a special ringtone. And I didn't have Macho Man. I just put Randy, because I always have people in my phone under code just in case you find MVP's phone. Right. Oh, look, Dave Bautista, John Cena.
Yeah, Dwayne Swayze. But
yeah. So sometime after that, I remember I was in my apartment, eating my turkey, double turkey Subway, 2 for $5 or whatever it was, broke hungry wrestler shit. And my special ringtone rang. And it was Rant. And I'm looking at the phone and I'm looking, it says Randy.
No fucking way.
And I'm standing in my kitchen and I'm just like, the Macho Man is calling me.
Come on.
And I'm like, answer. And I hear on the other line, hey, Antonio, how you doing, brother?
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing fucking great. Right now, it doesn't matter that I'm broke eating this dry ass turkey sub, and we started talking, and he was telling me about the whole plan for machoman.com.
So you heard the plan from machoman.com?
From him, about the plan, how they were going to do it, the internet wrestling, the subscription-based internet wrestling, and he was teaching me the business. He said, we're going to build you up. We're going to put you over on a bunch of guys. And then ultimately the plan is, the winner of the whole tournament faces the Macho Man. You're going to wrestle the Macho Man. And then I'm going to put you over for the machoman.com championship. He said, that's how you make people in the business. And I'm trying to process this. Macho Man is telling me that he's going to lose to me to give me the machoman.com title. On Camden, this conversation happened. And I'm mind blown that he's explaining to me how we're going to build this up to make me somebody. And then he said, and then what we do, once we establish you and you're somebody, then you lose the title to somebody else and we make a new guy. And I'm like, I'm talking to Macho Man right now.
Yeah, this is
The
wild.
cream always rises to the top. It's a champion's prerogative. I changed my mind. And we, unfortunately, machoman.com never took off. I don't remember what happened to it or why. And I think something happened with Slim Jim or something where he got back doing that, and that was a very lucrative thing for him. I don't remember what happened, but machoman.com, fuel the madness. Oh yeah, it never took off. Nothing happened with it. But for years after that, Macho Man, Randy Savage, would hit me up out of the blue. Just checking on you, brother. Just seeing how you're doing. I remember when I was wrestling in Puerto Rico, I was just walking and he called me out the blue, asked me how Puerto Rico was going. Was Dutch Mantel still down there and just talking to me about it? And I'm just like, yeah. I'm telling him how I'm doing. He's asking me questions and giving me advice. And I'll never forget when I got signed and I was in my shitty little apartment in McDonough, Georgia with my $500 a week developmental contract. And Randy pops up on my phone. And he calls me because he heard I got signed. Wow. And he wanted to congratulate me. And he said two things that he stressed to me over and over. Don't trust anybody because everyone's always trying to take your spot. And save your money. Yeah, save your money, kid. You can live and have a good life, but save your money. And I'm sitting there tripping. Like, he called to congratulate me for getting signed. Took the time to warn me about, how the business was. Protect your spot. Don't trust everybody. And save your money. I'll never forget that as long as I live. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. We weren't friends, but I had his number. And on occasion, I would call him. I never got to him when I called him. I'd leave a message and, hey, man, just checking in, or I'd tell him, whatever good news, something happened for me. And periodically, out of the blue, he would call me up just to check on me, see how I was doing, how my career was going. And when I got signed, I'll never forget him calling me to congratulate me and insisting that I don't trust anybody, protect your spot, and save your money. And when he sadly died, remember he had a heart attack while he was driving, and he died. That was pretty rough. But one of the things that we did talk about, and this is pretty cool. Actually, I'm not going to get into it right now, but me and Zach Blair from Rise Against are working on a documentary because he and I became friends. We were high school friends in Sherman, Texas. And who would have ever thought that I remember hanging out in his bedroom. I was this gang member from Miami who ended up befriending them. It's a really cool story, but he was saying that me and his brother Donnie, we're going to be professional musicians and we're going to teach you how to play guitar so you can be our guitar tech and we're going to bring you on the road. And I was just in his bedroom in high school laying on the bed going, yeah, sure, sounds good to me. At that point, I didn't have a life plan, And then it's a really cool story about how we reconnected later on. But he was playing guitar for Guar for a while.
Okay.
And they were in town, and I showed up to the show, and I'm backstage. And at the time, he was with his girlfriend was, I don't know if they were married or if it was just his girlfriend, but Gorgeous George. He bought the name and the whole gimmick for her. And she started messing with Doyle from the Misfits. And that's when the Misfits were doing the stuff with Vampiro. So somehow she started messing with him. And I'm at this Misfits Guar concert. And Zach Blair can back me up on this because it's going to be in the documentary when we do it. But Macho Man is backstage looking for Doyle from the Misfits with bad intentions. He's walking, where's Doily? Where's Doily? Yeah, he got bad. He's looking for Doily. And I was with my brother at the time, my younger brother. And I bullshit you not. This is all it's like truth is stranger than fiction. A few of the security guards and a couple cops come over because now remember, this is Macho Man fucking
Yeah.
yoked to the fucking gills, Macho Man. This is
The Spider-Man.
this is Macho Man circa 2001,
Okay.
2002, and the security and a couple cops come over to me and my brother because I'm big and my brother's big, and they come over, hey, we might have to throw Macho Man out of here, and if we do, man, you guys are some pretty big guys. Would you help us? And I'm like, fuck no.
Don't work here.
Yeah. And I walk over to Macho Man. I'm standing with him now. And my brother's standing over there with the cops. He's a cop. I'm like, oh, with all that. So I'm like, I'm helping him. Yeah. And I had a disposable camera. And I'm like, hey, Macho Man, damn, you looking jacked, man. You looking huge. Oh, yeah, brother. And I'll never forget. We hadn't met yet. I don't think, I don't even think I had started my wrestling training yet, or maybe I had just started wrestling training. And he said, man, you're the only one that's being nice to me. Because everybody was giving me, because they knew he was there to fuck Doyle up, And I asked him, hey, man, can we take a photo together? And he's like, yeah, sure, brother. And it's out there on the internet. It's been posted. I posted it, and it's made its way around. But a very, very young, baby-faced MVP / Antonio Banks backstage at the Guar Misfits concert
Wow.
with Macho Man. And, then years later, I was talking to him. I'm like, hey, man, remember that time you were at the concert? And I was like, yeah, I was the kid that came and asked to take the picture with you. And he goes, oh, yeah, you were the one that was being nice to me. He remembered that shit. He remembered. So that was like, dude, my career has been just blessed with these amazing gems of like just some of the coolest things that are the people that have taken interest in me, the people that have just volunteered their knowledge and resources to me, and the fact that Macho Man, one of the greatest of all time, just hit it off and took a liking to me. And I'm gonna guess it was all because I went in on his ass on that promo and cut a great promo, and he liked that shit. So this is just a gem I'm sharing with you guys, because man, marking out, man.
Yeah,
Marking out for the Macho Man. We were just sitting here watching Macho Man promos and thought, yeah, maybe we should tell that story.
Yeah. Turn the cameras back on to Macho Man.
The Macho Man, because the cream always rises to the top. Yeah.
So we've been talking about the great Macho Man. We talked about his promo.
Yeah.
Now, I was watching AEW. Oh. Here we go. And Gene Okerlund chasing with the mic. So watching AEW and some of the promos that I see that you, Bobby, and Shelton do, especially some of the not it's backstage, but you guys could be in a garage or someplace else. And I wanted to ask you, what's the art of pacing a promo so it builds like a match with highs, lows, and a clear payoff?
That is the art. A match is a promo is a match. If you're doing it right, and if you look at all the greats, you have an opening, a middle, and a finish. And you just pick anybody throughout wrestling history, the all-time great talkers, the Ric Flairs, the Dusty Rhodes, the Macho Mans, the Cenas, the the Paul Heymans, just anybody who has been an exceptional promo person. You're selling tickets. Ultimately, the goal is to entice people, to lure them in to want to see a particular match. Just like a wrestling match in the beginning, you lock up, you build it up, and then you get into a heat, and then you get into a comeback, and you take it home. And you need a good finish. That is the art. That's the way it's done. It's pro wrestling, so there's outliers to everything. But I remember when Vince McMahon at WWE was doing promo classes, and certain people, it was mandatory. You had to attend his promo classes, and I remember people like, "You got to go to promo class," But I remember I learned a lot, and one of the things Vince said, a promo is a match. A match is a promo. The formula is pretty much the same. And like
Vince was leading this promo class?
Yeah, he was teaching the promo class.
Oh, wow.
And I remember we all had to have notebooks and take notes. And like everything he was saying, I knew and I understood. So for me, it was just validation of, but I remember he looked over it and he goes, "Take more notes." I'm like, sure, Vince. But like some of my favorite promo guys, we were talking about Macho Man. Like he was just dope because he was his own style. Nobody was like him, and nobody's been like him since. But if you think about 80s promos, you had a lot of yelling and screaming and, "Let me tell you something, brother." And there was something for that. But, look at Dusty Rhodes. Like he would build a promo and he would start talking and he would build it up. He would draw you in. And once you were invested, he would take it home and give you that finish so that when he was done, you were like, "I gotta go see this match." I think the stratosphere for me and you. Like, oh man, it's just amazing. And recently, I did a promo with Bobby with the Gates of Agony.
Is this where you didn't even raise your voice?
I didn't raise my voice.
You sound like a very stern father.
Well, so my goal there was to contrast the Gates of Agony, because Ricochet is smarmy and being a hater and talking his shit, and then Toa comes in, screaming and over the top and unhinged, and and I wanted to contrast that. Okay, so here you got these guys that are intense and emotional and over the top, and like, man, we're professionals, man. We ain't all emotional, man. This is business for us. Y'all in your feelings, man. This ain't personal. But since you want to make it personal. And I already had Bobby on deck because I told Bobby, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to pitch it to you. You take it home, because by the time this airs, Shelton had the match with Ricochet where there was the fuckery on the back end and he got fucked. And then we are going to, the following week, Bobby versus Toa. Two big boys are going to get at it. And so I told Bobby, I'm going to open it up, but I'm going to pitch it to you because it's your match. And, I said, since you want to make it personal, now I've got your attention. I'm calm. I'm Jake the Snake. I'm keeping my voice low to get your to get your attention. I'm not yelling, because typically motherfuckers yelling if you want to tune them out. Like, it's not. But if I'm calm, and you go, "Oh, what's he talking about?" I get your attention, and now I'm gonna pitch it over to Bobby. And Bobby got something to say.
Yeah.
Bobby said, "I don't do all that yelling, man. But you're gonna learn there's levels to this shit, And Bobby raised his voice, but he didn't yell.
Yeah.
And Bobby let him know, when I put you in the hurt lock in the middle of the ring, you're gonna understand why the people yell. We hurt people. So now, if you're watching this, you're going, okay, I see. I'm reeling you in, and now I'm gonna pitch it off, and the fullback's gonna smash it home. And when you see Bobby, you like, somebody had left a comment on the AEW Instagram post that I apologize to Bobby and I ain't even do anything. You know,
That
like,
wasn't even me.
yeah. And I think that's, everybody has their own style of promo. And I've said many times, I think the best promos are conversational. If you're a character like Toa, he's this big, jacked up, scary Polynesian dude, and he wants to be unhinged. He wants you to, you know, he wants you to believe he's unhinged. And the way they structure their promos, it's great because here's this smarmy little hater who you like, man, you want to smack the shit out of Ricochet. But you look at these two dudes he's running with, and when Toa comes through, like, yo, what's wrong with that man? And now you see why Ricochet is talking like that, because he got this big crazy motherfucker with him, you know, like.
All you gotta do is step to the side.
Just, yeah, and he ain't even get, Toa gonna move him to the side and, you know, let, you know. I got my Toa, but my Toa is way more dangerous because he ain't all emotional and unhinged. You know, like, so, when you're doing a promo right, the essence of a promo is to captivate the viewer, gain their attention, and then make them want to see the conflict. And I think we succeeded in making you want to see Bobby Lashley against Toa.
Oh, definitely. And when they were interacting, they were going at it. Maybe there was interference in the match, but the camera kept giving you just enough view of Bobby and Toa, and they looked like they were really throwing some serious blows. I was like, oh, this is.
I was there. They were throwing bombs.
Like, this is gonna be interesting. Yeah. So then to see a match the next week, like, oh, genius.
And then this match is leading to a trios match at All Out in Toronto. And, you know, and it's funny because I've seen some people comment, this match needs a stipulation. And then what the fuck are we going to do, genius? You know, it's our first match. It's a wrestling match. And it's going to be a fight. And, you know, regardless of what happens, I don't think the beef ends there. Okay, now we go to some sort of a stipulation. You know, if you go to a stipulation in the first match, where do you go from there? You're an idiot. Those of you who said this match needs a stipulation, shut up. Let the professionals do what we do. Let us do this. You just sit and watch. And I promise you, Toa and Bobby, you know, well, by the time people see this, you will have seen the match and the trios match. But I don't think this story is ending anytime soon. But back to the original point, my goal, my job, any professional wrestler, when they cut a promo, the art is to tell you a story that's going to captivate you, bring you in, and make you want to watch the conflict. And if you do it right, you will succeed by people going, oh yeah, I want to watch that. That's the art. That's the goal.
I can't wait to see you wrestle. The fact that it's a trios match, I cannot wait.
Lacing up the boots, baby.
I cannot wait.
Y'all keep forgetting the Hurt Syndicate. I'm a wrestler. Yes, I'm the mouthpiece. I'm the vocal representative of the group, but I haven't retired yet. I still got my boots. I still got the Punisher singlet. And I still got these.
I thought that is when you were going to film the interview with Chris Van Fleet while you were in Toronto. So I was surprised when it popped up. I was like, oh, he's already done this.
Yeah, no, we did that in Vegas.
That was in Vegas.
Yeah, because that was the weekend that I was out there for Masters Worlds and the Craig Jones Invitation.
When Santino.
Right.
Okay.
So Chris Van Vliet, we had already talked about doing it a few other times, but just scheduling wasn't right. And when I told him I would be in Vegas that weekend for the Craig Jones Invitational and the IBJJF Masters Worlds, he said, okay, I'll meet you in Vegas. And we got a studio there and we're able to get together and do the Chris Van Vliet interview.
Amazing interview, man, as always.
And Chris Van Vliet is dope, man.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for him. And as we talked about in the interview, like, I've known him for 8-9 years now, and the first interview we did was with his iPhone standing up in a hallway or something. You know,
so you've seen him come. Oh, and you guys mentioned that.
Yeah, I've watched him come up. Like when he was just a newbie, just getting started. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. And somebody was like, hey, well, we got this guy who wants to do an interview, and he's, you know, and I don't remember who it was that vouched for him, but I'm like, Yeah, okay, cool. You know, we did the interview. And through the years, anytime I've seen him, he's always been cordial. And what I appreciate about him is he's an interviewer. He's not breaking news and spreading gossip and, you know, bullshit like these other assholes. He's doing interviews. And he's asking poignant questions and talking about people's experiences. And I like what he does. And obviously, lots of other people do
Yes.
because he's got one of the number one, if not the number
If
one.
not the,
Yeah.
yep.
And you know, we had a great conversation, man, and I enjoyed talking to him. And obviously, people enjoyed talking to Chris Van Vliet because he's good at what he does.
If you guys haven't seen the interview, please go check it out.
Yeah, it was a good one. I enjoyed it. We had a great conversation. Shout out Chris Van Vliet, CVV.
All right, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment.
And share with your like-minded wrestling friends. If you're enjoying the content that we're creating here, tell people that you think would enjoy it. Share it with them, please. And subscribe. We're trying to get the Maven subscribers.
Oh, yeah. So that means y'all got a lot of work to do.
Wow, we got a long way to go.
Peace. So Macho Man said to save your money. He said that don't trust anybody because people are always trying to take your spot.
Yep.
And so that leads me to this question. So how do wrestlers balance protecting their own aura while still putting the company's storylines first?
Man, that's a difficult one because it depends on your status. If you just walked in the door and you're low on the totem pole and you haven't established who you are yet, you're not moving the needle on the box office, you got to do what you're told. And if you had ideas of, I'm going to be this big, tough brawler, and they go, no, you're going to be a garbage man. Well, you're going to be a garbage man. And if they want you to be a clown, you want that paycheck, you're going to be a clown. You don't have much say in the beginning. Now, if you start moving the needle and you become someone that, you know, the fans are responding to, you're getting over, then you have a lot more say in how you're presented and what you want to do, and how you respect it. You finding that fine line between protecting your character but advancing the storyline of the company is because they're not always in each other's best interest. Sometimes, depending on the company you work at, you know, they're not really worried about you and your aura and your character. And they're not really trying to elevate you because you're not figured in. It's more about what they're trying to do for their storyline or for that angle. So there's not much you can do. But if you get to a certain point where you, as I said, you do move the needle, you are box office, or you have established yourself as enough of a name where you can go, nah, I ain't doing that, I'll go. Then they have a choice to make. Do you matter enough to them that they want to keep you and they're willing to work with you on how you're being presented? Or do they go, all right, you don't matter that much to us anyway, you can go. And there's always a middle ground. There's always a middle ground to that. Case in point, with the Hurt Syndicate, you know, we have made it very clear that we want to elevate younger talent. There's talent that we want to work with that could benefit greatly from beating us if it's done the right way. And if we do that, then we don't lose anything. I remember a long time ago, Chris Jericho, of all people, taught me at WWE. He was supposed to beat me. And he said, it doesn't do anything for me to beat you. And he campaigned for me to beat him because he said, if you beat me, it does a lot for you. It doesn't hurt me at all. I'm still Chris Jericho. So depending on the presentation of how someone is beaten, the story, then you can advance a talent and elevate them, and in so doing, elevate the company's storyline and the company as well, if you're able to elevate younger talent to make new stars without compromising your own aura. And sometimes, things get lost. There was this fictional narrative going around that the Hurt Syndicate doesn't want to do jobs. Yeah, you're right. We don't do jobs. We do business. And if business is done the right way, we can take an L and give a W to a younger team that will elevate that team. It won't hurt us if it's done right, where, wow, they just beat the Hurt Syndicate. They're on a roll. They're hot. And it won't hurt us because all we got to do is come back the next few weeks and just beat the shit out of people, and we're right back rolling again.
It seems like it's a very fine line between doing business and damaging your credibility long term.
But again, like I said, it depends on the presentation. If you want to have Bobby Lashley go out there and lose in 2 minutes to some flavor of the week indie guy that you don't really know who this guy is, then it's like, what the hell was that? But if you got somebody that has promise, that shows like, hey, this guy could be money, man. This is somebody. I'll give you a better example. Shelton Benjamin has lost to a number of people since he's come to AEW. But if you look at his matches, how he structures his matches, how he loses those matches, those younger guys had to fight from underneath the whole time to win that match. So when they get the W, they come out of it going, oof, I just beat Shelton Benjamin. But Shelton Benjamin wasn't compromised because he dominated most of the match. And you see like, yo, that kid fought for that. He earned that W. And Shelton's not compromised. So it's all in the presentation. It's all in how it's done. And, when you have talent that know what they're doing, then there's something to be said for the presentation. It's all in the everything is presentation. It's television, it's wrestling. Everything is presentation. If it's done right, then you can elevate a talent without sacrificing your own credibility. But if it's done wrong, yeah, you can end up looking bad. And there's through the years, there's lots of examples of talent that were looking good and they were looking promising, and then for whatever reason, some bad booking steered them off where they lost momentum, and they never got the crowd back. And I've seen guys that, yeah, they're like, hey man, you guys are killing me off. And I've lots of examples through the years of people that happened to. And if the company has a directive that they want to go in, you don't matter. It's what the boss wants and how they want it done. But like I said, if you're somebody that has a certain status, then the bosses are going to listen to you, and you can have a discussion about when you lose, how you lose, the way you lose. And like I was saying, the false narrative about the Hurt Syndicate not wanting to lose. No, we want to lose, but it's how we lose and who we lose to is what matters, because that way we can lose without losing any face or credibility and still being a unit that the crowd is going to buy into and elevate a younger talent in that process in a believable way where you go, man, I thought that kid was going to die, but man, he managed to pull it out. That was amazing. He gets elevated and nothing gets lost in the process.
He won, but he got hurt.
He got hurt, yeah. He paid for that W. He got it. And the Hurt Syndicate doesn't lose any credibility. And like I said, it's all like, getting your heat back. The baby face can make you look bad and everybody's laughing at you. And then you smash that baby face and you're wailing on him and he's selling. Now you got your heat back. So the Hurt Syndicate can lose to young talent presented the right way with the right creative, where that talent earns that win and they're elevated by that victory. And the Hurt Syndicate, all they got to do is come out for the next 3 weeks and just smash everybody. And they're like, oh, man, these guys are bad. They're back. And boom, right back on track. Nothing gets lost.
Here we are again.
One more again.
The day is over, my friend.
And I haven't said one thing about it through the 3 episodes that we taped today. But each episode I wore a different Manchester United jersey. Manchester. Glory, glory, Man United! Yes, I'm a United fan. Yes, for a long, long time. And through the good days, through the bad days. Back before it was Premier League, when it was Division 1, when we Yanks were just finding out about it. Yeah, way back, baby, way back. But that's neither here nor there. At this point, I just wanted to point out that, and this is a throwback one too. This is, but anyway.
You and Omas, y'all were
Yeah.
on the field.
Yes. Yeah. When Man United was, when they were on tour here in the States, we got to go. It was cool because we got to go in New Jersey. What's the big stadium up there for the
MetLife, maybe?
MetLife. And then it was cool because they came here to Houston a couple days later. And I got to bring Baby Bash. Shout out to Baby Bash, good friend of mine, smoking nephew. We got together. His son is a huge soccer fan. My son is.
Cool.
Our sons are friends.
Right on.
So I was able to arrange for us to come here and go on the field, and our boys got to watch and hang out.
Oh, so you did it a few times.
Yeah, well, me and Omas did it in Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, Chicago, in New Jersey.
Okay.
But Gemma, shout out to Gemma. She's no longer with the organization, but she was super dope. She arranged for us to be able to do it again here with our boys.
Okay,
so I was able to bring my son, Bash, his son, and his friend and his friend's son. I apologize, I can't recall their names, but it was cool. We got to bring our boys, and they got to meet Marcus Rashford, and we got to take pictures. It was a really cool experience. So, yeah, because I live an extraordinary life. And having said that, we're wrapping this episode up. Once again, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and maybe you should listen to a little Jupiter Jazz. If you know, you know. See you, Space Cowboy.
I just lay back in something new. Whiskey 21 and over, low ball. Make it too neat. Dizzer from Harlem. Yeah, I'm from Houston, off of Fondren. Mike Mazan and real world flow. Plant these seeds in the streets and in weeks. Watch it blossom. Dark night, riding on chrome, swinging through Gotham. It's me and P, repaving these roads.